Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Anupama, Professor at Department of Economics, Punjabi University, Patiala. I am here talking on behalf of Dr. Falandar Kumar Sudan, Professor, Department of Economics, University of Jammu. I am going to talk about adapting cities to climate change from demography of climate adaptation. So students, we are going to discuss about the opportunities and motivating factors that drive or hinder adaptation, planning and action. The adaptation of cities to climate change had been a prominent issue in academic and political debate. As the societal responses to global climate change adaptation would reduce the pressure for mitigation action. Earlier, it was thought that it will promote or at least indirectly allow the continuing emissions of anthropogenic greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Now, its perception is starting to change. The adaptation is increasingly seen as an important and integral part of proposed and implemented climate policy. The recent Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, that is IPCC report, states there is a high agreement and much evidence that with current climate change mitigation policies and related sustainable development practices, global GHG emissions will continue to grow over the next few decades. However, the cities and their residents have no choice other than to adapt to the impacts of climate change. There are cities around the world that have started to design and implement adaptation strategies, often independent of existing national planning framework. The 8 cities, namely Bogota, Cape Town, Delhi, Pearl River Delta, Pune, Santiago de Chile, Sao Paulo, and Singapore were selected due to their diversity of conditions such as climatic zones, political and administrative organization, steering capacity, and the state of progress towards adaptation planning and action. At the meantime, these cities have large urban agglomerations that can be expected to play an important role in further advancing the global adaptation agenda. So, this module aims to investigate the types of climate adaptation options implemented in cities across the world, to analyze the opportunities and the motivating factors that drive or hinder adaptation, planning, and action, and to examine the motivations of early adapters to develop and implement adaptation plans, to analyze the obstacles that may explain the reluctance of some cities to take on the adaptation challenge. The main concern in tropical cities is consequence of increasing global temperatures and rising energy demands. The disturbance of sensitive ecosystems from fire or environmental degradation and the loss of biodiversity are concerns in Pune. The food security is most notable concern in Bogota and Cape Town. The economic losses due to climate change are significant and cross-cutting. The in-migration to ecologically sensitive areas and associated land use changes are the major issues. Another major issue is the adoption of Western consumption patterns that increase per capita demand for water, energy, food, and land. There is already high dependency on external supply of resources such as drinking water or energy. Besides, there are high variations in distribution of associated risks across population groups and locations, with rising vulnerability within marginalized populations. The climate change effects add to already existing inequalities and vulnerabilities due to high dependency on scarce resources. And these effects are not limited to coastal cities alone and need to be seen in local conditions and factors. Now we can discuss about the profile of selected cities. All the selected cities are representative of large urban population. Their populations range from 3 to 5 million, for example, in Cape Town and Pune, to 19 million, for example, in Sao Paulo, Pearl River Delta, and the 9 prefectures of its Guangdong province are estimated to have a population of 48 million people, including 12 to 14 million migrants from remote provinces. The population variation in the 8 cities reflect various stages of urbanization. The Latin American cities have already passed their urbanization peak and show a rather consolidated status of urbanization. Their annual increase in population has slowed to less than 2% and takes place mainly in suburban and peri-urban areas. However, intense inner city restructuring is still taking place. Asian cities are at a much earlier stage of urbanization as compared to American cities and show an impressive annual increase in population of about 3 to 5%. All 8 cities have important political and administrative functions, being the national, regional, or provincial capitals or secondary urban centers. This generally creates more favorable conditions in terms of access and control over political, financial, and administrative resources. However, the internal political administrative structures and distribution of power and capacity between local and regional bodies vary significantly. The average annual temperatures and precipitation levels range from tropical climates in Singapore and Pune with seasonal monsoons to subtropical climates in Sao Paulo, Bogota, and Pearl River Delta to a mild Mediterranean climate in Santiago de Chile because of their different geographical locations and climate zones. The cities like Cape Town, Singapore, and Pearl River Delta are the only 3 coastal city regions. Therefore, these 3 cities are at risk from the effects of sea level changes. The other 5 cities are located in non-coastal areas, which provides an opportunity to study anticipated changes and effects that go beyond the threats of sea level rise. Other climate change related challenges are increase in temperature and changing precipitation rates and seasonality, as well as extreme events such as storms and floods. The impacts of these climate related challenges will increase in future and will contribute to severe risks. The projected increase in annual median temperature ranges between 2 and 5 degrees Celsius in these cities. An increase in extreme events such as intensity in rainfall, heat waves, and storm events has been recognized in all cities. The climate action plans exist at the national level for all these cities. However, Cape Town, Delhi, and Sao Paulo have started to formally incorporate adaptation strategies into their local climate action plans. Now we can discuss the anticipated effects of climate change. All 8 cities are anticipated to face major stresses on water availability due to limited supply, contamination, saltwater infiltration, higher demands, and growing dependency on external supply. In Cape Town, Delhi, Santiago, and Singapore, there are potential distributional conflicts between sectors and population groups. Climate change impacts on health are another area of major concerns, including air pollution, Pearl River Delta, Santiago, and Sao Paulo. Heat island effects that include Delhi, Pearl River Delta, Pune, Santiago, and Sao Paulo, and the spread of disease factor in all these cities. In case of Pearl River Delta and Singapore, the consequences on human settlements due to sea level rise or coastal and inland flooding are a further concern that could lead to serious disturbance in the transportation and infrastructure service. Now it is interesting to know about the actors. In all 8 cities, the lead responsibility for adaptation lies mostly with governments. In China, an intensive top-down strategy has been developed with the establishment of a regional administration system to coordinate local responses to climate change. In Cape Town and Singapore, the main responsible actor is the agency related with the environment, that is Environmental Resource Management section within the Department of Environmental Affairs, Development and Planning in Cape Town, and the National Environment Agency, Ministry of Environment and Water Resources in Singapore. In Sao Paulo, the main initiative is taken by the political domain, like from the mayor's office. In Delhi, the government of National Capital Territory of Delhi is permitted to take up action in several core areas defined by a national plan. At the city level, the Delhi Climate Action Plan outlines different projects that are taken up by specific local departments. Now it is important to examine adaptation capacity and response. In this respect, first of all, let us discuss about the actions. What actions do cities take? Looking at the national level strategy and action plan preparation, the city responses are largely determined by the will to fulfill international commitments. In Colombia, financial incentives and technical support has been available. In Delhi, Pearl River Delta, and Pune, the strategy formulation is used to demonstrate international leadership. The case of Cape Town is somewhat different. The preparation of the National Action Plan of South Africa has emerged almost differently from Western Cape Provincial Plan. At the city or regional level, the driving factors of early action vary quite significantly. In Delhi, city managers lay emphasis on the responsibility of the city as a global leader. On the other hand, they take the opportunity to advance their existing development agenda through strategically accessing financial instruments. In Singapore, the adaptation techniques are taken as opportunity for technological innovation with significant investment in research and development. In Cape Town, the natural disasters are common. Therefore, preparation of the Western Cape Provincial Plan was largely driven by the experience with disasters and the anticipated worsening effects of climate change. In Sao Paulo, there has been emphasis on the potential for new ideas, networks, and leadership. The city-level actions focus on range of different sectors, including water, energy, waste, infrastructure, land use, human settlement, and disaster management. The common concern among all the cities is water supply scarcity. In Cape Town, this has led city managers to initiate a range of actions under the adaptation plan to address residential consumption patterns. The behavioral change is also a strong emphasis in Singapore with respect to energy consumption. The city also started several programs for technology development for water, that is, desalination and recycling, and energy like solar energy. There have been attempts in linking supply management with demand management by increasing awareness for integrating key sectors such as disaster management and land use in Sao Paulo or land use and transportation in Singapore. In Cape Town, the framework for adaptation to climate change represents a city-wide and coordinated approach that reviews direct impacts on natural resources as well as secondary impacts on the socio-economic conditions and livelihood of communities. The actions formulated in the local action plans are linked to strategies and goals for sustainable development, for example, in Cape Town and Singapore, or global competitiveness, for example, in Delhi and Pune. The actions are legitimized by linking them to problems that are prominent and debated in public. For example, in Sao Paulo, the transport situation is a hot topic of the public debate. Except Cape Town, the city-level action plans do not distinguish between adaptation and mitigation. In Delhi, more focus is on mitigation due to the opportunities offered by clean development mechanism. The coastal cities like Cape Town and Singapore favor protective approach due to sea level rise and various extreme events. Adaptation action requires a strong local leadership, often motivated by opportunities to become recognized as innovative and future-oriented. The good governance is essential for innovation in local governance and administration. Local adaptation action strongly builds on interpersonal and interinstitutional interaction. The transfer of ideas, knowledge, and insight through external networks are necessary. There is a need to accomplish adaptation plans by creating a dedicated climate teams using multi-sectoral approach. An option is the creation of a climate protection department, as in the case of Sao Paulo. This strengthens the interdepartmental character of climate impacts. Finally, enhancing financial capacities seems to play a role in driving adaptation responses. Among all the 8 cases, none of the local action plan has depended on external financial assistance. The process of implementation can vary from city to city. In Cape Town and Singapore, technical working groups took over the responsibility to advance specific projects. In Sao Paulo, the local action plan prescribes the formation of a dedicated multi-stakeholder committee under the Environment Department. The task of attracting private sector, civil society, and local community stakeholders is undertaken in each city. In Cape Town, the citizens are involved through newspaper advertisements, public meetings, capacity building exercises, newsletters, and workshops with key stakeholders. The main objective is to encourage behavioral change in water consumption among the people. In Sao Paulo, the dedicated multi-stakeholder committee tries to include every sector by inviting the private sector, civil society, and science community to participate in the process of mitigation and adaptation. Across almost all cases, participation is generally top-down oriented. This may be associated with the insight that action is primarily undertaken within the public sector domain. However, Pune is an exception, where the non-governmental organizations act as important drivers of change. In Cape Town and Singapore, there is strong public engagement and the limited civil society engagement in climate adaptation in urban areas. In Sao Paulo, there exists sensitivity for climate change and adaptation, but this is largely related with the issue of Amazon rainforest. There are some evidences across the cities that suggest that climate change adaptation is connected to individual living conditions with respect to local communities and individual citizens, especially in the emerging middle classes. Now it is necessary to examine the tools and instruments for implementation. We need to answer how do the actors communicate information and generate awareness, what measures are in place to ensure compliance and evaluation of action, and how is adaptation projects financed. All existing local plans and resulting projects benefit from research on impacts of local climate change. There is a need to identify the challenges of climate change in all national action plans. Cape Town and Singapore have occupied scientific knowledge to study long-term local effects of climate change. In Delhi, various efforts to improve the understanding of local climate effects are driven by national level proposals and involve both national and local research institutions. Sao Paulo engages in a process to obtain local knowledge through a series of stakeholder consultations. The 8 cities are trying to follow options for communicating relevant information and creating awareness. The communication regarding general information on climate change and the benefits of adaptation is essential. There has been increasing awareness about the implications of consumption patterns and communication about the impacts of climate change. Cape Town has taken the widest initiative in relation to its water demand management activities to gain association by the citizens. Various initiatives have been developed in combination with related projects. In Delhi, the Clean Yamuna project is being implemented essentially as awareness operations. Singapore has initiated the Green Mark standard for energy efficient buildings and energy audits. All this involves compulsory energy labeling for common household appliances to guarantee that consumers can make efficient, well-informed choices when they decide on their purchases. Various market-based instruments are being introduced. In Cape Town, the fitting of water meters and water tariffs are complemented by regulatory measures such as comprehensive water bylaws, including the right to implement water restrictions. Now let us talk about the opportunities for adaptation. In Cape Town, Sao Paulo, and Singapore, community safety and minimization of disaster impacts are major objectives in adaptation plans. The locally relevant scientific information is available for creation of awareness. The analysis of vulnerability generates political interest in understanding how the climate is likely to change, how the city will be affected, and what local response options seem appropriate to tackle predicted impacts. Adaptation plans are made to support and prioritize already available strategies. Cape Town and Singapore ensure the integration and mainstreaming of adaptation actions. Adaptation is connected strongly to existing environmental programs in Cape Town. Singapore supports a plan for building competitive advantages in technological advancement and innovation. All these are important lessons and potential starting points for local action in other cities. The adaptation strategies and implementing them are main tasks for the public sector. There are responsibilities regarding the public goods such as infrastructure, sanitation, public transportation, housing, and social policy. Across cases, constraints relate to issues such as lack of regulation compelling the private sector to meet minimum social goals and to share public-private planning. No mechanisms exist to capture and put together existing local knowledge for adaptation with affected stakeholders. The current fragmented institutional structure prohibits a cross-cutting learning process. Local response is also an obstacle to the relevance of national climate action planning. It is very necessary that we should discuss about the constraints on adaptation. Various lessons are learned from the experiences of Bogota, Pearl River Delta, Pune, and Santiago, as well as from the early movers like Cape Town, Delhi, and Singapore with respect to adaptation constraints. First, there is very limited level of awareness regarding relevance of climate change for local conditions. In addition, local officials do not recognize or promote the potential link between climate change and development goals. Adaptation to climate change is not seen essential for the local development agenda. The allocation of political competences and responsibilities are not enough. There is problem of coordination in all cases. In such situation, adaptation to climate change is harder to achieve. There is limited ability for managing financial resources at the local level. Even in the cities where local action plans are in place, they do not contain financing mechanisms. There is a mismatch between the requirements of adaptation and the availability of local resources. There is a limited degree of autonomy to decide on adaptation action. The setting priorities are a decisive element for adaptation strategies. Setting priorities is mainly a political process and is difficult to define priorities if the financial help is coming from an external source, such as the national government. There are also limitations in administrative competencies and fragmentation. So students, let us sum up what we have learned from this module. The local climate action is integrated in established policy fields or sectors. The individual and collective preferences can no longer be disconnected from the policy and practice of service delivery, but rather need to be integrated. Thus, a main strategy to confront the trend of growing scarcities will have to focus on adjusting consumption levels as a complement to reuse and recycling schemes. Adaptation will invariably push concerns about the distribution of scarce resources across sectors as well as across communities and locations. This will be particularly true and highly problematic in cities where scarce resources are linked with highly inequitable access of different population. Thus, there is a need to pay increasing attention to long-term regulation of the distribution of resources between competing uses and users. The experience shows that the need to find strategies for engaging citizens in local adaptation action. The challenge of climate change adaptation emphasizes existing local development concerns, the effects of sea level rise, changes in the intensity and frequency of extreme events add to existing vulnerabilities of populations or infrastructure. Likewise, they are inextricably linked with local driving factors that determine vulnerability, such as migration, land use change, and the inequitable distribution of risks and opportunities across different population groups. Many of the obstacles highlighted are not entirely new. The cases of Cape Town, Delhi, Sao Paulo, and Singapore show that cities can play a leading role in designing local responses. They highlight the multitude of existing options, including the instruments needed to ensure compliance and fund sourcing. In addition, they show how the issue of climate change can be integrated into local development strategies. Even in the most proactive case, the main emphasis is on mitigation action. However, all cases offer important lessons. In each city, opportunities exist for connecting local climate action to already ongoing activities or instruments in areas of major concern. Thus, a first lesson for applied research and policy is to better existing local opportunities and the ways to connect them to local climate action. The implementation of local climate action needs to consider communication and linking it with the local effects of climate change, mainstream development, and individual consumption and the lifestyles. Finally, confronting the challenges of climate change will continue to face uncertainties about the direction and magnitude, the effect on level of exposures, and the implications for policy despite attempts to bring climate models down to the local level. Thus, learning how to deal with uncertainty and to design processes that lead to legitimate action will be a major new challenge for local action. That's all with this lecture. I hope you must have enjoyed it. Thank you.